Hey, enduring name. Back with a Green Bay Packers logo that I'll be doing throughout this video. This will actually be one of the simplest logos I make. So lucky for you, fans of the Green Bay Packers. Not only do you have a great quarterback Aaron Rodgers, but you have an easy logo to make on Black Ops 2. Of course, you might argue it's not interesting. Actually, I would argue it's not very interesting, but it's easy. So take pride in that. Anyway, I call it easy, and it really is. Uh, but it depends on how you approach it. Some people try to build the G just from all the little pieces here and there, and sometimes I recommend that. Sometimes it's better if you do that, like for the San Francisco 49ers logo. I had to build the S and F out of tons of little small pieces and fit them around each other and then shade them. It was just a hassle, but I had to. For this, you don't have to at all. There's no like green outline or there's no black outline to any of the letters. Essentially, it's just going to take 3 ovals like you've already seen and 3 semicircles, and that builds the bulk of your logo. You might not think of that initially, but you just take that white oval and then you fill in the semicircles where you need to slowly create the letter G. So as you see, I already laid out one semicircle. For the top and bottom semicircles, you want to squish the semicircle a little more than the semicircle to the left. So keep that in mind. And then once you have those 3 semicircles, you just use a little rectangle to crop off the section of the character between the top of the G and the bottom of the G. Oh, that makes sense. You'll see that in a second. Because it is such a simple logo, I decide not only to just do the G, but also highlight it and shade it just a tad, just to give it some depth. It makes the logo a little more interesting. There are also other things for this logo that you can do to make it a tad more interesting. For my personal logo that I made much earlier for the Green Bay Packers, on either side of the logo of the G, I laid out from top to bottom. I laid out a white or a yellow line, a white line, and another yellow line, and you just fit that behind the logo, and that makes it a little more interesting. I've seen that on some like official Green Bay Packers gear, but really you could do just about anything. That's up to you. Beyond the logos, up to you. The only thing tough about this logo might just be adjusting the semicircles a tad. You have to adjust them some fair amount to make sure that there are no breaks amongst them. You have to make that whole inner G fluid. And by the way, I wouldn't recommend it after, I would recommend it now. Just go ahead and look at the Green Bay Packers logo, and you'll see that the G literally can be made using just those 3 semicircles and that one rectangle. And the font is perfect. You don't have to change it at all. It works. Anyway, there are the highlights that I'm using, and I use them on the top of the G, or like the top right of the G, and then I shade the bottom left of the G. And you'll see in a second what I do is I not only highlight it, but then of course the highlight would stretch too far. It stretches onto the background, and so I have to kind of crop that out using certain tools. You just make those tools the same color as the background and crop them out. So you'll see that in a moment. Actually, that first tool I'm using, I end up changing. Don't use that first tool I just used. You're going to end up using a little different tool that hugs that oval better. by the way, to shade and highlight. Yeah, I try to say it in all my videos. I, probably all I'm getting right now is new viewers. You just make the color white, and you make the highlight white and lower the opacity using the bumpers. Or if you're making shadow, you do the same thing, except not with a white tool, but a black colored tool. And this right here looks a little daunting, I know. But essentially, to crop out either the highlight or the shadow, you just use two tools. The ones I'm using right now, actually, you just use two of those, and you've cropped it out. So 4 in total you're going to be using. 2 for the highlight, 2 for the shadow. So I think I'm going to leave you there. It's smooth sailing from here on out. I just do the shadow and crop that out, or crop the excess out, and you're good to go. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm taking more suggestions as always for NFL logos and more. I'm out. Later.